Good day, everybody. My name is Andrew Kelly, and welcome to my oral presentation of instructional process for English 101. For my block of instructions, I will be covering the process of what's called grouping and zeroing. And for my instructional process, grouping and zeroing is going to apply to uh, rifle shooting and any form of other gun shooting which you have uh, your sights that can be adjusted. Most handgun sights uh, that are iron sights, you can't adjust them unless you were to buy maybe a red dot sight optic, outside optic, that allows you to electronically adjust those sights. So for my instructional process, I'm using the AR-15 as my guide. AR stands for Armalite. A lot of people get that confused. They think it stands for assault rifle. It does not. Okay, why is this important? All right, so if you have a rifle, okay, and you have the iron sights, which is a rear and a front sight that you use to gauge and aim that rifle at a target to shoot. Everybody's eyes are different. Nobody looks through something the same way as any other person, and if you find that, you're pretty lucky because it's kind of rare. Maybe it does exist. I've never seen it. With that being said, what you want to be able to do is to take that rifle along with those sights and personalize it to you and your eyes so that when you look through those sights and you aim it at a target, you'll actually hit the target how you're aiming at it. So in order to do that, there's a few things we have to understand. Number one, safety. Handling any form of weapon, you want to treat it like it's automatically loaded. And if we do that, we handle the weapon, we're going to clear it. Okay, so follow the guidelines and the manuals to the weapon that you own or the weapon that you're handling, and follow the instructions on how to personally do that. So having said that, for my instructional process, I will not be handling a weapon, but I've made some training aids here, and we're going to go through this piece by piece. So to begin, all right, you need to understand that we have to apply the fundamentals of shooting, okay? So we're always pointing the weapon in a safe direction. We've already established the area that which we're going to be firing the weapon, and that it's a safe area. When we go ahead and assume the firing position of firing this weapon, okay, things that we're going to apply. We're going to apply steady positioning, proper positioning. We're going to apply proper grip of the rifle, making sure that it's firm to us and that we're not throwing it around. It's not loose. It's firm, tightened to our shoulder. We're going to ensure that we are aligned, our body up with the rifle, so that when we look through the sights, it's a straight line from the rear sight to the front sight, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. We want to ensure that we're applying proper breathing techniques, okay? So a lot of people will say that as you inhale and exhale, when you exhale, there's that natural pause. That is when you actually want to begin squeezing the trigger of your weapon and firing that round so that there's no interference from your body moving up and down from the air going in and out of your lungs. And lastly, you have the trigger squeeze. Okay, it's important that when we squeeze the trigger, that's just that you're just squeezing the trigger. You're not snapping at it. It's just a squeeze. And then to follow through after the rifle's fired, which will feel like a surprise to you, you're just going to slowly release that trigger, and you will feel the weapon reset. You're going to feel that trigger assembly reset and get ready for you to fire the next round. Because we're using an AR-15 for our instructions, we're going to be doing this at a distance of 25 meters. People that are smarter than absolutely me and a lot of other people, they have determined that at 25 meters, where your round impacts on a target is pretty much the same place where it impacts on a target at 300 meters. So that's what we're doing here. We're discussing grouping and zeroing. We're zeroing our weapon at a distance of 300 meters. And we can do that at 25 meters using a particular target that's already been established for that. Okay, so let's get on to my training aids here, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I'm trying to explain to you here. So it's a circle, right? Most of your rifles of any sort, your rear sight will be some form of a circle. I have seen different ones that look like just posts, like field goal posts on a football field, where it's just one on the left and one on the right. Here we have a circle, and that's what most standard iron sight rifles look like, okay? So there's our rear sight. This would be our front sight, okay? So your front sight is just nothing but a stick. And at the tip of it, sometimes we have it a little off color. Maybe it's white, maybe it's yellow, maybe it's red. But we make it a little bit different in color so that when we put it on target, it sticks out, okay? So what we're now going to do is you want to put the rear sight and the front sight together, okay? So the front sight post is going to be sticking straight through the rear sight post. So here we have this, where you can see the front sight post just off to the left of the center of the rear sight circle, okay? This is incorrect. We don't want it to look like this. Here we have it again. It is off to the right. This would be incorrect. We don't want it like this. Here we have the front sight post low inside the rear sight aperture. This is incorrect. You do not want this. Here we have it where it's now high. It's sitting high within the rear sight. We do not want this. This is where we want it. This is optimal use. This is where we now have proper sight alignment, where the front sight post is dead center within your rear sight. It aligns up properly. You now have what's known proper sight alignment. Once you have proper sight alignment, now you got to take it and apply it to sight picture. So indicated in the background there, I have what would be a silhouette, and we have proper sight alignment of rear sight to front sight, and then applying that to the target. Sight alignment to sight picture. Dead center within that target. That's what we want to see every time we fire the rifle. Center mass, same sight picture every time. Now that we understand that, okay, we can now start our process of firing, grouping, and zeroing, okay? So we take our position, we apply all the fundamentals. We fire 5 shots at a time. So our first 5 shots, we went down, we looked at the target, and this is what we found. Here are our 5 shots, and as you can see, they are all over the target, okay? Certainly nowhere near the center, and certainly nowhere grouped. What we want, whether it's here, 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 certainly we would love it here, but what we want is these shots to be grouped within a circle 4 centimeter diameter anywhere. That's what's known as grouping. We need them grouped. That tells us that we're applying the fundamentals while we shoot. Once we have them grouped, wherever they may be, that's when we start making our adjustments so that they'll hit right in here. So that was our first shots. Then we went back and we fired 5 more shots. And as you can see here, they're a little bit tighter, a little bit better. We're doing better with our fundamentals here, but they're a little spaced apart. They're still not within a 4 centimeter circle. And as you see here, they're kind of from top to bottom, bottom to top. What that tells me is that the shooter is not applying proper breathing technique, okay? He's a little up and down with his breathing. We went back. We took what we knew, and now we fired the next 5 shots, okay? Again, a little bit tighter of a shot group, but certainly not going to completely fit within the 4 centimeter circle, all right? Now we're a little bit left to right, okay? So that tells me that we're okay with the breathing now, but now we have a problem with either proper trigger squeeze that we talked about or sight picture. He's changing his sight picture and sight alignment, okay? So he's not seeing the center correctly every time. So we take that, we go back, applying the fundamentals, and we fire 5 more rounds, and then look at that. We now have what's known as a proper grouping. All 5 shots are within a 4 centimeter diameter circle, okay? However, they're not hitting center. Well, that's because the weapon is not zeroed to this person's eyes, but that's fine. He's at least shooting properly. So we take what we have here, and now we apply it. So we go back to the rifle, all right? And what did we have to do? We had to make adjustments, okay? So we made adjustments based on the last grouping. We went 4 to 5 clicks to the right. For our purposes here, we went 4 clicks to the right, okay? And then 1 click up. So we moved over, and now we fired 5 shots. And look, our grouping's getting closer to the center, all right? Still grouped really well. We're applying the fundamentals. Everything worked out well. 1 more adjustment would be made off of this. one click right, one click up. Went back, applied the fundamentals, and we fired our 5 rounds. With our adjustments, we now have a proper grouping, dead center of the target. We are grouped, and our rifle is now zero to our sight, which means as we use this rifle and we attend to a fire at any target up until 300 meters, as long as we apply the fundamentals, we will hit that target, destroy that target. Without doing this, anytime you go and shoot, if that weapon is not properly zeroed to you, you have no idea where those rounds may hit. And at 300 meters, if you are just a half inch off from where you fire, at 300 meters, you could be more than a foot off. That's it for my presentation. I hope that you learned from this. Again, always practice safety when handling any sort of weapon. And thank you very much for your time.